I think like what I've found is that kind of coming into like this leadership role, like one level above that, I'm still looking at it through like a prism of delivery. Um, and it kind of like distorts your thinking because like whilst you appreciate some of the like wider challenges in terms of like, okay, we need to be worried about this from an engineering perspective, need to worry about this from, a succession or kind of knowledge transfer perspective or whatever it might be. It's really hard in those kind of like moments of like creativity when you've got like some time to think about, oh, what could I solve or what could I change or what could I do, to not just be thinking about the same problems you've solved before and how it might be valuable to solve them for here. So I think that's been the kind of journey I've been on since then, is kind of like that feedback was a bit of a wake up call. And I've just been trying to think about, right, my goal is, I think I mentioned this to you like last time around, so like my goal is to focus on like how many leaders I can create of equal capability around me. That's the goal of success for me, is how do I enable and empower the people around me to basically do this without me. But the kind of route to it often ends up being agile culture, ways of working, delivery stuff. And that's the bit that I'm trying to get my head around, is what are the other avenues, what are the other routes to that end goal, which I haven't necessarily carved out or walked down previously, and I now need to think about. So I think that's been the thing that's kind of been on my mind. And starting point was kind of like taking a step back and go, right, I really need to be much more honest with myself about, kind of what I actually need to be doing myself versus what I can like kind of enable, empower, trust others to kind of do. But it's just really hard. It's really hard resisting that temptation. It's not just a delegation problem. That would be like oversimplifying it, saying like, oh, we just need to be able to delegate. It's not just that. It's about like finding your own purpose outside of what you've known and done and accomplished. Like, you get brought in because you've accomplished a certain set of things in a certain space. And then all of a sudden, you're not supposed to do those things because there's this other set of things apparently you need to do. And I don't know what they are. I'm just like, kind of like, what should they be? So that's kind of where they are. We're kind of like trying to discover what I'm supposed to be doing in this space, basically.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, it must be a real temptation to, as you say, kind of get involved and provide answers and suggestions. And then also work out, I've got this new responsibility, exciting responsibility, and how do I shift over to them? What does it look like? Yeah, you've just been in a space of kind of comfort, and other people are filling that role, and I guess they might be quite new as well. So you want to provide those answers. Yeah, it's a tough one. I guess, yes, I see it. I understand what you mean. It's more than just delegation, because I guess they need to find their own feet and also go on their own kind of learning journey, their own pathway.
Mm.
And they may even encounter the same risks and pitfalls that you did previously. And it's often, although it's hard to witness, sometimes it's better for them to actually go through that learning journey and kind of stumble on that pitfall so they can learn more deeply and kind of in a visceral sense through their own experience. And they may even, come up with a solution which is kind of novel in your eyes as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think the thing is like at the heart of it, everything you said is actually is if I ask myself, it is what I believe. But believe in practicing, like are different things sometimes when like muscle memory takes over. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you kind of have that temptation of like shortcutting someone's thinking to an end outcome because you've had success with that end outcome or that process before or whatever it might be. So your leaning is to be towards, hey, why don't we go in this direction kind of thing. And yeah, part of the reason I say it's kind of more than just delegation, because I can easily farm off all the stuff and go like, well, you do this, you do this, you do this. And more or less, whether it's like longer, faster, shorter, whatever, we'll get to that same or similar outcomes. I don't have like major concerns about that. Issue more is actually like the comfort levels it takes to sort of, as you let go of all of these things, having sort of like, what's the meaning for yourself? Actually, it's not about them necessarily. They'll go on a journey, they'll learn these things, but what do you do after that? That's where the bit where I keep kind of like, oh, this is new for me, this is new for me. And almost like I'm, you know, like the kind of like horrible you know, kind of like that hierarchical management structure of like, you know, you kind of measure everyone's kind of value by their level of output and productivity and whatever else. I'm almost doing that to myself. It's like I can't let myself have free time because I'm worried that means I'm not doing enough. And actually, that's probably the thing I need more than anything else, to discover where the value is, where I can find, you know, those opportunities to kind of take experiments with myself about doing this and doing that and doing this, to identify where else I can add value, or how else, more importantly, I can add value.